Let's start writing the program for our Guess the Number game. So the very first thing we need to happen is for the computer to pick our random number. We want this to be a random number and a different number every time someone starts the game. In order to do this, we need to make a variable. You've seen variables in math. Lots of times they're the x or they're the y, and it's like our unknown number. In coding, a variable is a placeholder for storing a value. It's like a container for information. So it's giving a name to a piece of data. So in our case, we want to give a name to this random number so that we can keep referring to it throughout the game. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any way to refer to the secret number over and over again. We would potentially be calculating a new random number after every turn. So by creating a variable, we can store that number in the variable and use it throughout the entire game. So to make a variable in Scratch, I actually need to be in the data category. Makes sense if you think about it because we're making a variable to hold a piece of data. And I'm going to click Make a Variable. For this game, you want your variables to be named so that it's clear what information it's holding. So for this game, I'm going to call it secret number and say OK. Once I've done that, now you see I have an entire set of orange blocks that I can start coding with. So the first thing people say is, well, the secret number is showing on the screen. You can check and uncheck this box here to show or hide the secret number. My recommendation is that while you're programming and developing your game, to leave the secret number showing so that you can test your game to see if it's working. So I have some options here. I can set my secret number, I can change my secret number, I can show and hide the secret number. So the probably obvious choice is I want to set my secret number at the beginning of the game. But right now it's set to 0, and it appears that all I can do is type a single number in there. So how am I going to make it so that it's a new number selected by the computer every time? Actually, in the operators category, you can see a bunch of different operator blocks here in green. Take a minute and see if you can figure out which block I'm going to drag out. Getting closer, and this one. So pick random 1 through 10. And one of the nice things about learning to program in Scratch is that the blocks drop into each other and connect to each other if they're allowed to, so if they actually work together. So I don't want it to be a random number 1 to 10. I'm going to do 1 to 100. And let's click the green flag now, and you can see that it selected a secret number of 51. If I click the green flag again, it should show me another random secret number, 79. So back in the data section now, every time I want to refer to that secret number, I can drag this block out. You can see that this block doesn't connect, so I'm going to have to drop it inside other blocks. The next part of my game is to get some text on the screen. So I want to kind of set up my space. So I'm going to actually have my sprite do that. You could do this in other ways, but I'm going to have my sprite do that. And so I want the sprite to say, I need to replace the text here, so I don't necessarily want it to say hello. I want it to say, help, my horse is locked in the castle. It's going to say that for 2 seconds, and I think I'm going to drag another say block out. The dragon won't let me pass. And then I'm going to say, help me guess the number so I can get through. It's a number from 1 to 100. And let's click the green flag and see what happens. Oh no, I have the dragon saying all of this, so this is a problem. I actually want the princess to say all of this. So I am going to take the say blocks and drag them over to the princess, and then I'm going to delete them here by dragging them to the side, open the princess, and here they are. So I'm going to actually have the princess wait 1 second before she says all of this, and now let's run the program. So now I can see that the princess is saying everything. Each word bubble comes up for 2 seconds. I've clearly set up the reason and why we're guessing a number. And I've also made sure to include the range of numbers that the player is guessing between. You can't assume that the player knows that it's 1 to 100. I think I also want to say we only have 5 tries. And now I want to ask the player to input an answer. So it might seem like you put a say block in, but actually we need to switch over to the sensing category and we're going to use the ask block. I'm going to change the text to what's your guess? Say what's your best guess? And let's run it now and see what happens. So all of my instructions are going to come up again. And now you're going to see the difference between say and ask. So as soon as the ask block is run, you see that you get an answer box here down below. And so I'm going to just guess 50. I hit enter on my keyboard and nothing happens because I haven't programmed anything else to happen. I'm going to leave you to figure out a few things from here, but I just want to point out one last thing. The answer block is tied to the ask block. So the answer is another variable that will hold whatever information the player has most recently typed into the ask block. So I typed in the number 50, so the answer block can be dropped inside other blocks and it will contain the information of the number 50 until the player has asked another question and inputs another answer. So see what you can figure out from here. I've given you a really good start on your Guess the Number game.